The world is a strange, scary place, filled with ghosts, ghouls, robots, and more. But you can always rely on man's best friend to be there to help you no matter what you're going through.
Well, sometimes at least. When it comes to these two cowardly canines, despite being dogs, are a lot closer to pussies.
Scooby-Doo, the mystery-solving mutt of the Mystery Gang.
And Courage the Cowardly Dog, from the middle of nowhere.
While neither of these pooches have a real bark, which of these two have the stronger bite?
Let's see who would win in this Joust house. There was once a species of ancient godlike monsters, the Anunnaki. Every few thousand years, these creatures would experience the event of Nibiru, causing a break in the barrier separating them from the human world. However, they lack physical forms, and must possess animals to exist. They are the cause of such deities as Quetzalcoatl, the Monkey King, and every single talking animal in the Hanna-Barbera universe. Most iconically, one Scoober to do.
What the actual heck was anything you just said?
I don't know, Stripe. I don't know. But this dog would soon then be adopted by Norval Rogers, more commonly called Shaggy, and would become the official mascot and #1 mutt of Mystery Incorporated, the best mystery-solving gang in all of, well, pretty much everywhere. Scooby-Doo is a big franchise spanning all over the world.
Scooby might be a part of the gang, but is he really though? Like, Fred and Velma cover all the plans, Daphne funds it, and it's certainly there, I guess. And what's the point of Scooby and Shaggy? More sport?
I mean, I guess? But really, they do tend to pull their weight. Mostly as bait or accidentally finding secret rooms, but hey, not all destinies are grand.
I mean, even then, he does have the most useful ability anyone can have. Toon Force.
Explains why you're useless.
Die.
Unfortunately, you are right though. He's done some ridiculous stuff. He can survive being flattened. Well, basically anything from behind his back. Can pull a Wile E. Coyote and, this. Yeah.
Heck, one time he and Shaggy rewound time. Plus he regularly carries all the other members of the gang by himself. Assuming the weight of 2 average men and 2 average women, this can get up to 740 pounds.
But that's not even the start of how insane the pooch is. Like when he crashed a minecart, worth around 0.002 tons of TNT.
And he got hit by a fireball that blew up his hut. This would be worth around 0.075 tons of TNT.
He isn't that shabby in speed either, like when he and Shaggy reacted to lightning, which is worth Mach 290.
In one film, he gets a sword and is able to duel with a samurai who is able to split a bridge in half. Hot dog style, not hamburger. In the Kiss crossover film...
The what?
The Kiss crossover film. He's also crossed paths with WWE, Batman, Johnny Bravo, Teen Titans Go, Harvey Birdman, The Addams Family, everyone in Scoob, Courage the Cowardly Dog. Wait.
Can't believe he actually met John Cena and became a WWE champion himself, really showing Scooby can throw hands.
And his opponents are no slouch either. Almost maybe some random old man wearing a Party City costume, others are literally a universe-destroying eldritch entity, or ghosts attempting to wipe out all of humanity.
He's also fought Sinestro. Yes, that Sinestro. And took his ring.
Holy frick! Harold Scooby?!
Probably not. This comic is non-canon to DC. Still, it's something he has in his arsenal.
Also, in one episode, he and Shaggy dance so amazingly that they destroy the glass that contains the universe. As you do.
He's not perfect, though. As established, he's a massive coward. His first instinct at any set of danger is to turn tail and run for his life, no matter what he's up against.
Also, his massive hunger can be a hindrance. He'll do literally anything for food, which while it can sometimes be used to motivate him, it can also be a massive distraction. Sometimes even stopping to eat when he's being chased by a monster.
While a huge pushover and a coward, Scoober is capable of doing nearly anything he puts his little food-obsessed dog brain to.
When you need a case solved, there's always one little dog and a group of meddling kids you can call to solve that mystery.
Scooby, Dooby, Doo! We interrupt this program to bring you Courage the Cowardly Dog Show!
People can be cruel. Look at my co-host for proof.
Hey, do you know where I put my pipe bomb?
Anyways, a good example of this is this unnamed veterinarian who kidnaps several dogs and eats them into space, including the parents of a certain pink dog.
Lost and without his parents, a young Courage lies in the trash, alone, until a kindly old woman finds him, admires his courage, and adopts him, naming him Courage in hopes that he can pull through his tragedy.
Courage you have. Would you like to come home with me? I'll call you Courage. We'll have a grand time.
He can't, he's a wuss.
getting a little ahead there. Anyways, Muriel brings him back to her house in the middle of nowhere with her husband Eustace. He's literally everything bad about society.
Despite being in the middle of nowhere, Courage continues to have the worst possible luck imaginable, because literally everything exists in the middle of nowhere, and they all want Courage's spine. It fetches a high price on eBay.
Well, even with his literal and metaphorical demons trying to kill him 24/7, the funny pink dog has so much he can do to fight them off.
He's used almost every single weapon known to man. Chainsaws, blowtorches, hammers, bows, baseball bats, literally anything he can get his hands on. Which, since he has the universal cartoon ability of reaching behind his back, is just about anything. Including the whale, accordion, and anchor he carries around everywhere.
He has two big X factors. For one, his body. It can shapeshift into almost anything, including a blimp, Godzilla, and even liquid to get away from hard situations. Not to mention that he's been beaten, blown up, disintegrated, ripped apart, and pretty much any other form of pain you can inflict on a body. Sometimes even by himself. And every single time, he just regenerates as if nothing happened.
The other big X factor is his scream. Sometimes, he's just kind of annoying. Other times, he can create earthquakes and even very casually shatter the very sun as if it was a plate.
He's fought every form of monster imaginable, from a serial killer cat to demons, to giant robots, to my night terrors for the next month.
Who's that referring to?
Yes.
He's also outsmarted Master Thief and Conman the Quack several times, followed the plot of Master Serial Killer Cat several times as well, and of course, has stupid Toon Force abilities.
From destroying the moon to sewing together the ozone layer to stop global warming, Courage really can do anything as long as he's properly terrified.
We mentioned the sun destruction, but that wasn't the only time he beefed with stars. One of his first opponents, the Shadow, who he's traded blows with, became an entire sky full of stars, and his owner Eustace, who once became a constellation. Heck, he even once held a star in one hand, and didn't immediately disintegrate.
Not to mention he's piloted a ship from the sun to Earth in about 11 seconds.
Honestly, it's easier to say what he doesn't have at this point. Instant quicksand, eels that spawn fully grown water, a bone that once any dog bites it, they're unable to stop, which somehow Courage has the sheer willpower to do. They just never said no in making this show, honestly.
He does have one big weakness. You'll never be able to guess what that is.
He's a coward?
Actually, it's that he's got mommy issues, but that's also pretty big. He's quite literally scared of his own shadow.
Also, he tends to put the needs of his others over his own life. Most notably Muriel, but he can also do it for Eustace, one-off like Bunny or the Duck Brothers.
While he may seem like a coward, as millions of old Facebook memes will tell you, being courageous isn't the lack of fear, it's being able to face your fear, which this little doggy will do to anyone who needs help.
He's still a wuss.
One step at a time.
The things I do for love.
Alright, the doggos are set. Let's see who wins.
Will the cowardly dog be as gone as a Scooby snack, or will this be Scooby's final mystery?
Wait, haven't they met it before? Why are we doing this?
It's time for a joust house.
Welcome everyone! Here in the middle of nowhere there's a spooky mansion, and a certain scared dog is looking for some treats. But something is hiding inside the house. Let us see.
We start on a shot of a haunted house. On top of it is a box of Scooby snacks. Scooby walks into frame, notices the box, laughs, and walks into the house.
But that's not the only dog searching around the house.
Inside the house, we see Courage nervously walking around.
I just know something bad's about to happen.
He tries to calm himself by pulling out his violin and playing it, but he then sees a large shadow on the wall, then runs off screaming, dropping the violin. It's revealed that it's just a rat in front of a flashlight. Courage trips over the balcony, kicking up tons of dirt and smoke. Scooby enters the house holding a lantern, causing himself to look bigger and more intimidating through the smoke. Courage screams, then pulls out a crossbow and fires it at Scooby.
Seems like the two are unaware that the other isn't a threat. Where will this lead?
The dust settles, and Scooby sees the arrow flying at him and quickly breathes fire to destroy it. He sees Courage far away laughing, who thought he stopped the monster. Panicking, Scooby runs at him while still breathing fire. Courage panics again, then pulls out a baseball bat, and with his eyes closed, swings at Scooby. Dazed and confused, he whips out his sword and starts swinging wildly. The two blindly swing, slowly becoming a classic cartoon fight bubble bouncing around until they break another railing. Courage panics and looks around, finding a chandelier that he grabs onto while Scooby falls. Courage accidentally drops instant quicksand, instant eels, with Scooby falling into the quicksand. Courage swings the chandelier so far that it snaps, launching him away.
The two have been separated. Will they find their ways back?
Scooby finds himself on the bottom floor of the house before he gets back up. While he's getting up, he accidentally knocks over a vase, causing water to spill, awakening the eels. Scooby yells again, being chased by the eels and running upstairs.
What a shocking turn of events!
Courage sees all the ruckus going upstairs and starts looking around scared. He starts backing up, not looking behind him. Scooby runs up the stairs and slams the door shut to lock in Niels. He starts hyperventilating, looking at the staircase while backing up. The two slowly back up until they hit each other, both jumping in the air and screaming while running in the other direction.
Yikes!
Scooby runs away until he finds himself in the kitchen. Relieved, he starts making a sandwich. Courage, on the other hand, is running at top speeds, throwing out various bombs and explosives behind him. Though they don't explode. He eventually ends up throwing a mallet forward, hits a wall, and flies back at him. Courage gets hit, flying him backwards until he rams into Scooby. The two keep flying backwards until they eventually start flying through several doors, a la the iconic Scooby-Doo hallway gag.
Things are really heating up here. If not even food can stop the two, can anything?
The two get separated as Scooby crashes into a box. Out of it pops a yellow lantern ring. Scooby lets on his iconic laugh and puts it on. In another room, Courage jumps to his feet and starts pulling stuff out of nowhere to help him, including the whale, accordion, and anchor. He then hears a bunch of noise and turns around, seeing a bunch of yellow monsters suddenly rush him. They all dogpile on top of him. Scooby walks in, holding his lantern again.
Game over.
Is this it? Is this truly the end of the cowardly dog?
Everything starts shaking. Scooby looks at the pile in fear. The sound slowly starts up until it becomes clear that it's Courage screaming.
Rolly Rock.
Scooby darts off into the opposite direction, still holding his lantern. Courage continues screaming as the yellow monsters shadow around him. Cracks start to appear in the house walls. Cut back to Scooby running. However, a large thing of debris falls in front of him, causing him to trip and drop the lantern. It falls over to the pile of explosives Courage dropped earlier. We cut back to the shot of the house. It blows up. We zoom in a patch of ash, when eventually, Courage pops out. He looks around in a panic, before he sees his violin and pulls it out. It then immediately disintegrates. Courage sighs and then says,
The things I do for love.
the box of Scooby snacks and falls on top of Courage's head, which after he recovers from the shock, he takes one out and eats it.
Even in the darkest of scenarios, you can also count on Courage, the cowardly dog.
Well, that was pretty rough. You know, like a dog.
Even though Scooby has over 30 years more to work with, surprisingly, this is pretty clear cut.
Courage has pretty consistent star level feats, while Scooby's pretty inconsistent. With that said, like how a ghost is actually just a guy in a suit, his best showings really aren't all they seem to be.
Almost every big feat of his is done via massive help, exploiting a specific weakness of a monster, or both. The evil entity was killed via power of friendship nonsense, and Scooby required all of Mystery Inc. and the Heart of the Jaguar to do so. Sarah Ravencroft claims she can wipe out all humanity. Not only is her exact message unknown, it doesn't matter, since she was beaten by Velma and Thorn stealing her away.
And more glaringly, his and Shaggy's universal glass destroying dance doesn't matter since it requires Shaggy to do it, and he's never shown to have anything close to this level of power without these people or weapons.
And the Lantern Ring in Scooby's universe really doesn't have the same level of power as one in the comics. Even if we assume it does, it's unlikely that Scooby would even immediately use it, as it's never his standard tactic. Nor is he shown that to have full control or knowledge of the ring.
Heck, that's a major difference between the two. While both tend to immediately run at the sight of danger, Scooby is almost always bait and doesn't tend to calm down until the threat is neutralized, while Courage will surprisingly quickly calm down and tends to very strategically find a way to end a threat as quickly as possible. And with his wider and more offensive arsenal, it won't be hard to do. Basically, Scooby's role in his gang is closer to Muriel and Eustace, while Courage gets things done.
You think a detective would be smarter than a character who's called stupid in every episode? But no, Courage is quite intelligent, and has followed the plans of several crafty opponents like Casting the Quack. While Scooby, well not an idiot by any means, really doesn't do much to help directly solve any of his cases.
Well, what about the recent crossover film? Shouldn't they scale?
I mean, not only is that film dubiously canon, since Courage's creator had no involvement in it, even if you say it's canon, the two never fight.
Even if you do scale the two in speed and strength, Courage still has the better arsenal and mindset.
Even Courage's Toon Force is better. He's been blown up and ripped in half and everything else, but it's almost immediately fine. Scooby's is more for fourth wall awareness and pulling stuff from behind his back.
In the end, it looks like Courage ended up as the top dog.
The winner is Courage the Cowardly Dog.